Here is a review that you actually were expecting. So we are going to do a compare and contrast between four players when we talk about single member LLC, business line of credit, no income verification. So we have Headway, National Business Capital, we have Advanced Point, and Midwest. I want to start with Advanced Point Capital. So basically, this is a lender that's very flexible. They will actually take care of you. They are very flexible when it comes to single member LLC, business line of credit, no income verification. And they do not, they actually have a system in place where they call this whole program stated income verification. In other words, they trust your numbers. Okay, they're not going to ask you to verify your number. But they do have some qualifications though. If you want to qualify, if you want to get this single member LLC, business line of credit from them, you got to be in business for 6 months. Okay, and they actually want you to have a personal credit score that is above 500. You got to actually generate at least 200,000 in annual revenue. So basically, you can actually show them. You can say how much you're making, but not verify it. Okay, they accept all business types. The thing is that they will look at your business bank statements. This is very important. So that they don't verify your income, but they pay attention to your bank statements. Now, some people will say, well, bank statements are proof of income. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because you have other cash inflows and cash outflows that actually makes a match with other transactions on your business on your business bank statement. So it's not the actual verification of the income that you see from an income statement. Okay, so Advanced Point Capital wants you to see they want to see your business bank statements. They might ask for your merchant processing statements if applicable, and there's no personal collateral required for this loan. Okay, so when we think about single member LLC, business line of credit, this is a great opportunity. And what we love also here is that for this, your personal credit does not matter. So when we talk about stated income, business line of credit from Advanced Point Capital, your personal credit doesn't matter. What matters is they want you to have 500 minimum, but what matters more is your bank statements, but also your business plan if needed. Okay, sometimes they'll ask you to provide a business plan so they have a clear idea of where your business is going. So overall, Advanced Point Capital is a great lender to consider if you are looking for a single member LLC, business line of credit with no income verification. The second player I want to acquaint you with is Midwest Corporate. By the way, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We're having a quick convo about 4 players that allow you to actually provide single member LLC, business line of credit, no income verification. So the first one that I just shared with you was Advanced Point Capital. Now I want to share with you something about Midwest Corporate, another great player. And with Midwest, you are looking at a lender who's very generous. With Midwest, they can actually give you Midwest Corporate. By the way, for Advanced Point Capital, they can actually lend you all the way to $100,000. With Midwest, they can actually lend you up to $250,000. You're speaking about $250,000. They have a simple, fast, easy, revolving line of credit. They actually take care of startups also. So if you are a startup, no problem. If you are an LLC, no problem. But this show is about what they do for a single member LLC that are looking for a business line of credit with no income verification. Okay, and the cool thing about Midwest Corporate is that no assets are required, no documents are required. They have stated income. Okay, you can use the cash for everything you want. You can get pre-approved, so there is no sort of impact on your credit, no hard pull whatsoever. You can use the cash for a lot of things, and you can actually get up to $1 million if you are trying to grow an existing business. Okay, this is really good. And so they offer working capital, they offer business line of credit, they help you do a lot of things. And the cool thing is that for Midwest Capital, they have a special program that actually caters to online stores. So if you have an e-commerce store and you're trying to grow it, you need money for it, you can get up to $1 million to fund your inventory, marketing, growth, or financial goals. So this is really great. And one thing we love about Midwest Corporate when it comes to single member LLC, they actually give you the flexibility. In other words, the thing is that some lenders, when they give you the cash comes with strings attached, right? They tell you how to use the cash, how to use the money, how you cannot use it, whatever. Midwest doesn't do that. So this is really, there are no strings attached. It's a business line of credit. So you have access to the cash. It's there when you need it. You tap into it and you can use the cash for whatever reasons. Okay. And so fantastic. And the cool thing here is that they are really flexible. Again, I said this before, but I will say it again. They are flexible with startups. So if your single member LLC is a startup, if you just started your business, you could qualify also. Let me talk to you now about Headway Capital. This is our third player in today's conversation. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic, boss. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at single member LLC, business line of credit, no income verification. And I'm actually comparing and contrasting four players, four lenders. So we have Advanced Point Capital, we have Midwest Corporate, we have Headway Capital, and we have National Business Capital. So I just reviewed the first two, Advanced Point Capital and Midwest Corporate. Now I want to review real quick Headway Capital. So with Headway Capital, the cool thing here is that they have a soft pull. So when you go on the website, you're not going to get a hard pull right away. You get a soft pull and see how much you could qualify for. And they also have a fast funding process. We love that because you can actually get your money as soon as tomorrow, within 24 hours. Think about that. Like if your single member LLC really needs the cash real fast, they'll take care of you. They'll take care of you. And in terms of and there are no prepayment penalties. Okay. In terms of credit limits, they will give you all the way to 100,000. We love that. And you have to repay whatever you charge within 24 months. And whatever you tap, whatever funds you tap onto the line, you have to pay it weekly or monthly. So they don't have this. Sometimes they have when you have a traditional bank, they have a draw period and a repayment period. Headway Capital doesn't have that. Okay, so for them, they have adopted the pay-as-you-go payment model, which is really fine also. Okay, so you really have to think about that. So what we love about Headway Capital is that they are really unique because they look at a constellation of factors to approve your single member LLC business line of credit. Okay, they look at not only your business plan if you have one, they look at your field. So because if you're a single member LLC, you are by yourself, you are self-employed. So Headway will look at the sort of industry you're in, the job you have, the profession you're in, and see they will look at the trends in the industry. Okay, they will actually look at a constellation of factors before approving you. And so they have something very interesting at Headway Capital. They have something called True Line of Credit. So basically, you apply in minutes. You can receive a line of credit for up to $100,000 for your single member LLC. You review and accept your offer, and you start drawing funds. Very, very simple. In terms of the qualification, FICO score minimum 300, annual revenue minimum 50,000, time in business minimum 1 year. I want to talk to you now about the fourth player in today's conversation. That's National Business Capital. And with National Business Capital, we have a line amount that goes from $10,000 to $5 million. You have flexible terms, 6 months to 10 years, and time to fund 3 days. Okay. Now, one thing you need to understand here is that National Business Capital, NBC, is not a direct lender. They're not. They are a lender marketplace. They're a loan marketplace. So so National Business Capital has a constellation of lenders in its network, like 75 to 80 lenders, which means what? It means that for your single member LLC business line of credit, you have more chances of scoring a great deal when it comes to terms and conditions for your business line of credit. Okay, so if you don't want to go to a bank, or you are denied a business line of credit at a bank or credit union, National Business Capital is a great player. National Business Capital is kind of similar to Lendio, though, by the way. So both NBC, National Business Capital, and Lendio have the same business model. So line amount 10,000 to 5 million. Very important to remember that. And you can use your business line of credit for anything. For anything. It's all about flexibility, right? You can use it to grow your business. You can use it for operating costs. You can use the cash for marketing campaigns. You can actually use the cash to smooth out seasonal slow periods. You can use the cash for inventory or supplies. You can use the cash for payroll. So you have a constellation, a smorgasbord of options you can use the cash for. Okay, very important to mention that. And in terms of the conditions, 1 year in business, even as a young growing business, growing single member LLC, you can still find financing options. Why? Because they have more than 75 lenders. So chances are you stand a chance to get a lender from that network. You need to have 120,000 in annual revenue. Okay, so you must be generating a minimum of 10,000 monthly revenue, and no minimum credit score. The good thing is that NBC has financing options for businesses with excellent and bad credit, for single member LLCs with excellent credit. Okay, with bad credit or excellent credit for that matter. Yeah, and they have financing options also for multi-member LLCs with excellent and bad credit. So the options are there, pretty flexible. Now, let me give you an overview before I give you the best. It's really important, by the way. I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I am talking to you today about single member LLC, business line of credit, no income verification. So we are comparing and contrasting. We have already compared and contrasted 4 players. So we have Advanced Point Capital, we have Midwest Corporate, very important. We have Headway Capital, and we have National Business Capital. So how do you actually get let's say a single member LLC, business line of credit, no income verification? How do you get that kind of line of credit in like for real, in real life? Well, first of all, you need to determine how much funding you need. It's all about how much money you need. We know that when you have a line of credit, you're not using the cash right away, right? But you have to think about what kind of reserve you want to have, how much in reserves you want to have, because there has to be a reason why you wanted to get a business line of credit in the first place. So are you looking for 50 grand? Do you want 75,000? Do you want 250,000? What do you need from the bank? Because the bank is not only reviewing your application today, they're also reviewing your application in terms of where would you be 5 years from now, or where would you be 1 year from now. Okay, very important. So you want to decide how much money, how much funding you need, and you need to check your eligibility. We're talking here about time in business. We're speaking about your financials. We're speaking about your balance sheet, your income statement. We're speaking about your credit history, business-wise, but also personally. And then if you want to get a business line of credit for your single member LLC with no income verification, please be careful, research and compare lenders. It's all about comparison shopping, right? You want to start with banks. You want to go to credit unions. You want to try maybe alternative lenders, online lenders, like all those 4 players in today's conversation: Advanced Point, Midwest, Headway, and National Business Capital. They're categorized as alternative lenders. So you have to research and compare your lenders. You need to gather the required documentation. Make sure that you have all the full paperwork so that you don't actually miss anything. Everything from business licenses to articles of organization to financial statements. Okay. But remember, simply because they're not actually verifying your income doesn't mean you don't have to provide income documentation. It just means you don't have to justify it. Let me actually give you a few pro tips. When we talk about business line of credit, there are some application mistakes that a lot of single member LLCs make time and again. Okay, it's important to actually double check everything to make sure that you are comfortable with the info that you put on the application form. Make sure that you put the right address, very important, the right phone number, the right email address, everything that they need to contact you. Make sure the lender has it right, because they will file everything in their archiving. So if you get it wrong from the get-go, this could be problematic to fix later on. Be very careful here. So and also there are some typical single member LLC business line of credit costs and fees that you need to be aware of. For example, you have the interest rates. You have the draw fee. Because sometimes some lenders may charge you a draw fee, and which is really incurred anytime you draw upon the line of credit. And the draw fee varies based on the lender, but it's usually between 1% and 2% of the amount withdrawn at the time. So this is something you need to think about. I mean, let me give you an example. Let's say your single member LLC business line of credit has a draw fee of 2%, and you draw $10,000. The draw fee is $200. And also to think about the payment processing fee. This is really important. It takes time. So accessing your single member LLC business line of credit will likely come with a payment processing fee if you choose to have the money deposited, the money sent to you rather via wire transfers. And the thing is that the fee is usually between $15 and $35, okay? And you can typically avoid this fee by choosing a standard ACH approach. Also, you have to think about the termination fee that plays an important role also. And so termination fee is really kind of important. Let's say a line of credit typically, as you know, has a fixed end date, right? If you want to close out the line of credit before the date, you may have to pay a termination fee between 1% and 2%. And also you have a prepayment penalty. So if you repay the withdrawn amount ahead of schedule, some lenders may charge you a prepayment penalty. So usually this is between 3% and 5% of the balance. So just be very careful about the best offer for you. So big decision time here. Big decision time. So Headway Capital versus National Business Capital versus Advanced Points versus Midwest Corporate. Of course, we're speaking about single member LLC business line of credit, no income verification. Which one should you choose, boss? Which one should you choose? Well, it really depends. It depends on a constellation of things. It depends on your funding needs. How much you need right now, boss? You have a single member LLC, okay. How much you need for work? How many clients you have? Do you have slow seasons? Do you have high seasons and low seasons? What do you have right now? How does your business look like? Those are questions I want you to answer for me, boss. And what is your business's situation in terms of economics? Are you making money? Are you scraping by? Is your sector competitive? Okay, those are things you need to talk about. And also, what is your business credit? Are you up there in the 80 or 90? Or are you down here around 50 and 40? I'm talking, of course, about PayDesk score. Is your Equifax business credit score rosier? Is your Experian business credit score rosier? Those are questions you need to answer. And those are not rhetorical questions. Those are real questions you need to answer. And think about your personal credit, because the lender might also check your personal credit. And think about how you're going to use the proceeds of the line of credit. What are you going to use it on? Those are things I want you to think about beforehand, okay? And one important element you need to pay attention to in terms of choosing whether you want to go with Headway Capital, National Business Capital, Advanced Point Capital, and Midwest Corporate is that you need to be clear about what kind of industry trends are you working with. Okay, what kind of industry are you in? What kind of situation can you actually change? And what are your current debt ratios? This is really quintessential, because before a lender can actually grant you before a lender can grant you a line of credit, which is essentially another debt, he or she might might want to double check to make sure that your debt ratios are not that high. Like your DTI is not really like through the roof, that you can actually breathe. You have control over your finances. This is really important. So here you have it. You have a constellation of things you can actually, of factors you can pinpoint while choosing which one. So after comparing and contrasting National Business Capital, Advanced Point Capital, Midwest Corporate, and Headway Capital, our pick is National Business Capital. So our score, 10 over 10. Advanced Point Capital, 8.8 over 10. We have Headway Capital, 8.5 over 10. And we have Midwest Corporate, 6.9 over 10. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.